Welcome to a special Back to the Future edition of Tech to Remember. We'll look at the vintage camcorder that was made famous by Back to the Future and why you definitely want it. What's so special about it? Why is it a collector's item today after all these years? And why now might be a great time to consider getting it. And I'll show you some Back to the Future collectible surprises. If you're looking to have fun and shoot with a vintage camcorder and get real ultra vintage results, well, stick around and watch this video. So hold everything. In this video, we're not just going back to the future.
We're also going to go ahead to the past.
Not sure exactly what that means, but stay tuned and we'll find out.
This is truly amazing. A portable television studio.
And Doc was right. The camcorder in this movie was called one of the top 100 gadgets of all time. The official model name is the GR-C1. And a new word was invented or discovered: camcorder, camera and recorder in one. And a lot has changed over 40 years. This is what the JVC looks like compared to a modern camcorder. And if Doc and Marty could only understand that now it can shoot 4K, it is so much better. But was this really the first camcorder? There's a bit of a debate, because in 1983, the year before, Sony introduced the Beta movie. As a matter of fact, that was featured in a movie. Do you know what movie this was? Put your guesses down in the comment section to see how smart you are.
Father and son scene, take one.
You know, Max, I think it's about time that you started learning the hanger business, huh? Stop wasting time with the camera.
I don't like hangers.
But the Sony Beta movie could not play back tapes in the camcorder like the JVC could. And this is footage from the GR-C1U that I actually took in the 80s of my friend and his dog. Notice how pastel the colors are. Everything is in like 50 shades of green, but there is some detailing. Wow, you see all that saliva on the dog's face when you zoom up. So at this point in time, this little girl would be well in her 40s. It's hard to believe how much time has passed, how quickly. But this is more footage from the JVC GR-C1U. And here as well, notice that rainbow. When you cut scenes, what would happen is that there'd be this glitch in between scenes. The camera used a Satacon tube, not a CCD. So this is how low light would look. Now compare an iPhone to the JVC GR-C1U, and it's a pretty scary difference, I'd say.
You want to see something really scary? You bet.
That's me, guys. Is that scary enough for you? Well,
yikes.
Now wait a minute, you cat!
This was my first camcorder back in the 80s. Since it uses that tube, you get these trailing effects when you have lights. Little secret, chicks really dig guys with camcorders.
Yeah, they're gonna love us.
So the video quality is pretty bad, but look how much people are paying for this camera. Why? Because it's an antique, and the first of anything is always valuable. And it's so cool and vintage looking with its fire engine red color and cool sounding. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to break or take off at any moment, but that's what it's supposed to sound like.
Music to my ear hole.
Now, using a vintage camcorder takes some getting used to. There's no screen or anything. You have to look through a viewfinder, and everything is in black and white. We take something like autofocus for granted, but you have to focus everything. And you also have to tell the camera, are you outside or are you inside, or else the colors will be really whacked out. Now, it records on a VHS tape, but a smaller, compact version of that. It's called a VHS-C tape, actually. And you can watch the footage right back from the camcorder, but it's not that easy.
Hey, I'm trying to watch your video thingy, and the tape, it's tiny. It's like it's shrunk.
That's because it's a VHS-C, not a VHS. You gotta find the RFP1U with coaxial cable so you can connect the video ins and outs.
Yeah, what he said. But in addition to using proprietary cables, the camera also has older proprietary batteries. And if you get this camera, it's not easy to find anymore. You used to be able to get it, but now they don't make them anymore. They're all out of stock. If you have the know-how, you could rebuild the battery and put AA cells in there, and that's a great way to make this camera run. So the year 2025 marks the 40-year anniversary of the original Back to the Future movie. Do you think there may be a Back to the Future 4? There's been some speculation, like this imagined trailer. This isn't real, but how cool would it be if they came out with a Back to the Future 4?
What year even is this?
It's 1985, kid.
Or how did you know that?
The Back to the Futures were such a successful franchise that there's been a lot of speculation about a sequel.
What would you change?
Now again, this isn't a real trailer. It was just imagined by someone.
It's in your hands now, kid.
Do you think there's going to be a Back to the Future 4? Let me know what you think, and what would it do to the price of the camera?
Great Scott!
But there definitely is a Back to the Future musical in New York City, that I can tell you, and if you have a chance, go see it. I took the camera out in the neighborhood to take some video, and here it is in all its glory. That high-pitched screeching sound is coming from the internal mic a little bit, so I think maybe something was going on with the sound. But these vintage camcorders really do shine at night, especially with all the lights and the trailing effect that you get from the tube.
So I often get a lot of questions of how I digitize the footage to bring the tapes from the analog to the digital world, and I'm actually going to be working on a video on that. So subscribe if you want to see some more information about a way that I think is the best, gives you the best quality. And if you're getting something out of this video, some nostalgia, please do hit that like button, as it sure does help the channel. Okay, so let's say you want to share your video footage with others. I mean, it's on videotape. How do you share it? You just can't email it. Computers back then didn't even have the internet.
JVC's answer was to send a video movie letter. They'd give you a box with some blank tapes, you'd record your footage on the tapes, and you just mail off the footage to someone.
How to make a video letter.
What you doing, Mom? I'm getting this tape ready to send to your grandmother.
And any grandmother would be delighted to receive such a tape, wouldn't she?
Yo, Grandma, I don't know how to tell you this, but I accidentally ran over your cat. Sorry, but I can buy you a new one.
I'm no cat killer.
Now this character generator or title maker was specifically designed for the JVC GR-C1. It was a cool little device you'd actually plug into your camera, and it can create, well, kind of crudish titles like this on a background, or superimposed right over your video like this. Pretty advanced for 1984. Comparing footage taken with this camera with a modern iPhone or modern camera is kind of remarkable. Here, for example, in Central Park, on a beautiful fall day, the nice wide angle, the colors, you lose that wide angle completely. This is as wide as you could get, and the colors are, there's about 4 colors in this picture, right? Light green, dark green, and no stabilization either. But I found walking around with the camera, you get a lot of interesting looks, and people are curious, and you get some interesting reactions and want to know more about it, and some people are even a little taken back.
You know what it is?
It looks very old. I've never seen one of those.
Never?
No.
This is actually the first camcorder that ever came out.
God.
It was in the Back to the Future movies.
That's so cool.
Isn't that
My
it?
dad would love that. Can I take a photo of it?
Yeah, people in the know recognize a collector's piece when they see it. Speaking of which, a number of years ago, a company called Sideshow came out with a 1/6 Marty Mcfly figure from the original Back to the Future movie, and it came with a lot of accessories, including the JVC camcorder. Even though the JVC name isn't on there for licensing reasons, I guess, it's really a true-to-life miniaturized version, down to just about every detail. The zoom lever, the buttons, even the battery on the back, the little controls on the side are true to the camcorder itself, all the way down to the microphone and little markings on the lens. Yeah, no, the camcorder doesn't really work.
Duh.
The figure itself comes with Marty's clothes, and as far as the likeness goes, well, the hair is definitely right. It comes with a nice little stand with the logo on there, and you can position the camera in his hands, or even, if you do it carefully, him holding the camera. So that looks pretty cool. And there's quite a number of other accessories too that it comes with. A lot of detail in this kit. It has a skateboard, which is really nice, a guitar with little strings, very, very accurate, and of course the backpack. Now expect to pay between $500 and $600 for this, and you can find them on eBay. But there's been a lot of DeLorean toys, the actual time machine itself. And there are some cheap little ones you could buy at Best Buy, but there was a Kickstarter project from a company called TOMY, or is it Tommy? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it really got my attention, so I pre-ordered it, and when it came, I almost forgot what it was, and I was delighted to open it up and see it's this big 1/10 scale version of the DeLorean. It was $300 when I pre-ordered it, and I think the price is nearly doubled now. And it is a very highly detailed reproduction of the DeLorean. The headlights, the grilling, the fine details in the tires and wheels. This is a little squeezer for the fog fluid I'll get to in a second, but there's these plastic little flames, so when you set up your DeLorean for display, you can put that on the ground, and again, that's for the fog fluid. The inside is also extremely detailed. Look at that. You got the date. The steering wheel is highly detailed. The speedometer has actual numbers on it. You have the wiring, and each individual switch is also labeled. You have the license plate in the rear, looks great. The parts in the back, which have the plutonium, are very well detailed and crafted. Both of the doors open up, so that's a nice touch too, and close nice and securely. This is not a cheap model. It has some heft to it. It is heavy, it is solid, and it is a beast. And it rolls very smoothly. I don't have any action figures to put inside, but from what I understand, it's a little tight when you try to put them in. The car lights up in different configurations, and they're beautiful lights. The blue, the red, the rear taillights. It also comes with a lightning rod, by the way, too, which I didn't mention. And look at this, how it flashes, and the clock lights up red and green. Really nice touches to detail. And we press a button, and the plutonium device on back lights up. And yes, it works. It came with a little bit of fog fluid installed, but if you put more in, you would get even more smoke. If you want to buy these, currently they're selling for between $400 and $500 on eBay.
So was there a model after the JVC GR-C1? Actually there was. There was a JVC GR-C2, which boasted autofocus, although that model was a bit clunky and never really sold well, and it was kind of a flop. Then JVC came out with the JVC GR-C7. Not sure what happened to the 3, 4, 5, and 6, but that one was much smaller, looked more like a box, and they used a CCD instead of the Satacom tube. So that was when camcorders were in their infancy. Now they are very mature, but are they about to die? Well, we're not going to let them die on this channel, are we? Well, that's about it. We're just about
Out of time. We'll see you in the next video, ahead in the future.
I look like a moron on wheels.